First of all, I'm very happy to be a part of San Sebastian, to be in the NES competition. My film is actually my graduation film. It's called PLANURI DE VACANTA, or Summer Planning, the international title. And it's mostly about a divorce that succeeds to break a child, to break a very young kid. Because mostly their parents are having a lot of difficulties, and they stop paying attention to their child. Yeah, and they're mostly focusing on their divorce and on their everyday problems, and they don't afford to spend time with their child, or to pay attention to their child. I knew from the very beginning when I started this project that I wanted to be a tryout of the Romanian New Wave style of cinema. I thought that the story and the whole topic and the whole world of the characters would be portrayed best in this new style of filmmaking. Actually, it's not that new; it's 20 years now. But for me, it was new because before this exercise, before this film, I never tried to make a Romanian new style film. So it was challenging because I wanted to have long shots. I wanted to work with film with 35 millimeters because it was the only time when I could do that. Um, uh, the school mostly works now with digital, but I was lucky enough to be in the last generation that could choose if they want to work with 35 millimeters, or if they want to work with digital. Um, and somehow working with 35 and having in mind that all the film will be made by sequence shots, that made me work a lot with the actors and made me work a lot in terms of choreographing the space and choreographing the movements. And there was a lot of rehearsals. I'll give you that. We did not find an apartment that would fit for the shooting, and we had to construct a set. So basically, that's a set. It's made in our school. I got the help of a lot of people from Unarte University, production designers, and we pulled it through. I think we spent almost 3 weeks from zero to construct everything, but we were happy with the result. And after that, I just thought it's very important to describe in the same time with the action and with the characters. I thought it's very important to describe their world, their reality, because in the same time the space talks about them more than words. In terms of the movements of the camera, I wanted to be very minimalistic, to be something that follows the main character, which is the kid. I would only pan if I would want to follow the kid, or if I would want to help the story work in this direction. We do have also, comparing to other films from the Romanian New Wave, we went a bit further, and we pushed a bit the limits in the way that we used Steadicams for 2 or 3 shots. They're filmed with Steadicams. And also, what else did we do? Oh, we played in post-production with the sound, in the way that there are moments in film where very very subtle. We tried a more subliminally point of audition from the kids' perspective with the sound, and we left behind the realism of the Romanian new wave. Somehow we didn't. I will give you that. At the beginning we did not know if it will work, but eventually we loved it and we kept it like that. But yeah, it was a challenging project, that's for sure. And we shot in 3 different cities from the countryside of Romania. From his perspective, that was what we wanted to have a movie that, without being necessarily very straightforward, like a POV, to subliminally give the audience the perspective of the child, to place them more or less that area. Yeah. We had a casting with lots of children. That's how we started, and choosing Andrei Lupashcu somehow came very natural, because he was the only child that wouldn't try too hard to be more than what he was. He was very natural, and somehow he didn't care so much about the fact that he was filmed. He saw it as a play with adults, and somehow we clicked from the very beginning because of this natural, but because of his natural way of acting in front of camera or in the rehearsals. I mean, I must say that he was the character without a lot of without needing a lot of work to prepare this part. And I don't know, I didn't want to have a child with a special trait to be a special child. I wanted to be a normal child of an extremely next door type, and I loved his way of being natural in the process all the way along. Actually, we had several scenes that did not get in the project. We cut, I think, 3 or 4 scenes from the movie because it was way too long, and we realized that it's gonna be a problem with programming this film or making it be seen. But regarding the car sequences that you are mentioning, the first one was mandatory because that's where we place the style of audio work that we will be using in the film. That's the first moment when we are trying to move from the outside to the inside, to the outside world, to the inside state of the characters, and mostly we are centering on the child. And then later on, we are doing the same thing at the pizza place, at the table at the pizza place. We are doing the same thing with the sound, and then again in the last sequence. To be honest, that was a thing that we debated a lot, because we had 2 options. We could have done all those sequences from placing the camera on the back seat of the car, like a POV of the child, but then we would lose forever his expression or his face or his presence. And because we did a long shot, we approached a long shot style of filming. Because of that, we thought that we can go a bit further and try to do it frontal and use the sound in order to create the right perspective for the audience to be able to connect with exactly what we wanted to push the story forward. I was extremely lucky to meet Diana Papuk, because I needed an illustrator to materialize an idea that I had. and someone from the school was nice enough to recommend Diana. She was doing, and I think she still does, some commercial work. She's doing advertising. I think she did the other posters too. And when I got in contact with her, she was pretty open. I told her, look, I want to make something that it's not the standard idea of a poster. It's more like a metaphor for what the film means or what's happening in the film. And she was pretty open about it. As I told her what was my idea, to use a frame from the film, but somehow to alterate the frame in the way the kid himself would see himself. So basically, we thought how this drawing would look if it would be drawn by Andrei. And we try to imagine at that age, how would you express the feeling of living what he was living. And yeah, then it became pretty easy. I think we did it in 2 days, but I stressed her a lot. But so we played a bit, but we wanted to give the impression of some kind of lost innocence, lost childhood, and some kind of anxiety and depression. Exactly the moods of the character. Yes. When I started going to UNATC, and I think this is a similar syndrome with everybody else. When we started the school, I think in the first 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we are just complaining on the things that they are not working, and I think it's similar with lots of students in different schools. And then I had the opportunity to do one Erasmus in another country, in Belgium. And after that, later on in life, I had the opportunity to do an MFA in the United States. So I'm more than happy to answer you now to that question. UNATC, the best thing that UNATC has is, from my point of view, it's that it fosters conceptual thinking in young directors. They are seeing cinema as art, not as a craft. So they are trying to develop new minds, new directors, to think about themes, to think about motifs, to think about symbols, to think about elements of cinematic language that they want to transmit to the audience, even more than I don't know, the way you're shooting the film, or it concentrates more on stories. And after the script is ready and everybody's happy with it, they let you experiment. Of course, you have to have some kind of a decoupage or an idea when you're going to shoot, but in the same time, they're not rigid. It's not and the giving obtaining in the masters. I think the best thing that UNATC offers is access to Arri Alexa, or access to some really top-notch equipment, and somehow still giving the students some freedom that I realized that in other schools it's not happening like that. And some other schools are more concentrated on the process, but on the process very strict. I mean, like an industry approach, more like an industry approach. I think it's extremely important for young aspiring directors to participate in competitions, festivals, similar with what San Sebastian does at Nest. For me, for example, getting to San Sebastian was insane. I mean, I loved it. I wanted. I thought that this film would be nice if would have a place there, but I never expected it to really happen necessarily. So I hope, but I was expecting, okay, maybe it's not gonna happen. And when it happened, I was extremely happy, because on one hand, San Sebastian, it's an A-list festivals. There are a lot of producers. There are a lot of people that they are going there. Even if you're in the short film category, you have opportunities to meet your peers, to meet other peoples that you can develop later on projects with, or just being in an environment of cinephiles, being in an environment when, for you as director, just being there stimulates you to do more, stimulates you to push harder, and validates your self-esteem. And after years of maybe doubting, or after months of working on a film, suddenly you feel that, oh, someone got it, someone liked it, and that's an amazing feeling when that is an amazing feeling when you are young, and when you are starting your career as a filmmaker. Yes. So I would say that I'm extremely happy that film festivals are still happening, considering the times we are living, and the limit as far as they can go in order to keep cinema alive, in order to have gatherings, to have projections, and yeah, the world, I think it's less depressed with film festivals still going.